Hey everybody, we're live and coming off a scintillating Monday night football game that if you were a fan of football, you loved. Now, if you're a fan of the Broncos, coached by Sean Payton, who are now 8-5, you really loved it because they won. If you're a fan of the Browns and Jameis Winston, as I am, well, I like the Broncos too, but I'm saying I think Jameis, you know the story here if you visited my site. I think Jameis is a a fantastic, excellent passer, one of the best of our generation. But for reasons that I place primarily on race, he's never been in a situation that would take the right advantage of his talents structured within a ball team that was with the proper strategy to win. In fact, he arguably only had that situation once. And that was when he was with the New Orleans Saints coach under the same Sean Payton that won last night back in 2021 when Jameis went for 5-2 record in 7 games, threw for 14 touchdowns and just 3 interceptions. And he did it because Sean Payton is a architect of the precision ball control passing offense that was popularized by Bill Walsh. Now, there are people who've come along since then, like Mike Martz, who didn't like the Bill Walsh approach and believe that if you have a Mercedes in the car or a Mercedes in the garage, you don't leave it in the garage, you go out and you run it. That was his reason for not wanting to back the kind of short passing attack that Bill Walsh structured. He preferred to throw it from anywhere in the field, but throw deep in mid-range. And Ken Dorsey, the Browns' current offensive coordinator, is a disciple of that. But if you take a look at Jameis Winston's career, he has been, I say, infected by what I call the Southern strategy of passing. And that is, yeah, let's just throw, but not in a way that's precise, okay? Let's throw because we can move the ball, because it's fun and everything else. But ball control and precision passing, that's for the eggheads and the pointy heads ones like mine, like me, right? So Jameis, coming out of high school, was the best quarterback in the country. When he was taken, or when he made the decision to go to Florida State, they called him as a freshman the chosen one. I never heard a quarterback, let alone a black quarterback, described as the chosen one. And yet that's how Jameis Winston was described, as the chosen one. And he then, after his freshman year, attracted a lot of attention because of his play. He eventually got Florida State a national championship. And then he went on to become the first round pick of the Buccaneers, where, as you may remember, Lovie Smith was the head coach. I had the pleasure of interviewing Smith. It's actually here on Zenny 62. And Dirk Carter was his offensive coordinator. Now, by then, I'd already been quite familiar with Jameis Winston. That was 2015, since 2012. And what I wasn't ready for, though, is the kind of offense that they put him in. It wasn't ball control passing. It was, well, we've got a guy who's 6'4", who can throw it far, so let's have him do that. And Jameis Winston's career has been highlighted by coaches who had that approach. So, yeah, it produces exciting contests. It produces records broken, but it doesn't produce wins and championships to the degree that you want. Now, you would say, why was it different in college? Well, easy. Talent difference between Florida State and opponents. But the NFL, as you know, everybody is good, okay? So Jameis ran into the ultimate buzzsaw of a coach in terms of someone you don't want, that you think can advance your career but really is not doing you a favor. in Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians was the architect of an attack that he described as risk it, no biscuit. In other words, if you don't risk it, you don't get a biscuit. Risk means throw passes that are chance taking, that are dangerous, that eschew ball control, and a lot like Mike Martz, try to achieve yardage almost at the expense of everything else. So in 2019, Bruce Arians was hired as coach of the Bucs to replace the fired Dirk Carter, who also had a number of errors with Jameis that I chronicled over the years, and actually Todd Monken, and then Dirk Carter. And then Dirk Carter was the head coach, Tom Monken was the offensive coordinator, but Dirk Carter was fired. And then when Dirk Carter was offensive coordinator, when Lovie was head coach of the Bucs, Dirk made the same mistakes that we just saw tonight. And so did Todd Monken when he was coaching Jameis. And they all had one thing in common, trying to make or take advantage of Jameis Winston, the gunslinger. They're mesmerized by the gunslinger. The only person that wasn't was Sean Payton. And so it's no surprise that Coach Payton was on the other side of the field instructing a rookie quarterback named Bo Nix from Oregon, actually originally from Alabama. Remember, he applied for Auburn, then decided to get out of there. But was the 12th pick in the first round of the NFL draft this year in Detroit. I was there, as you know. He didn't show up, though, unfortunately. Bo did not show up. A lot of people thought that Bo was going to drop to the second round, but Sean Payton had other ideas. Sean Payton took him and was shocked. But hey, Sean knew something the rest of us didn't know. He's proving it. But for all of that, this is a contest that the Browns should have won. But they didn't win because Jack Dorsey started off with a great game plan. He must be scripting these, like the first 10 or 15 plays, because within that first set of plays, he had some very creative approaches. For example, the pass that started out where it was a fake pitch and then throw to Jerry Jeudy. He nearly scored, ran for 44 yards and a first down. It was a great thing of beauty. And I thought, hey, this is different. Now, truth be told, I actually sent an email both to Ken Dorsey and to Jim Schwartz, the offensive coordinator. Dorsey is the offensive coordinator. Jim Schwartz is the defensive coordinator because I have an all-22 and I made a quick analysis and sent what I thought. To my surprise, about, I would say, 60% of what I wrote wound up in the game. It was the other 40% that would have gotten the win. And that has to do with the fact that Ken Dorsey, when it comes to the run, he's simply having the back in the backfield with a quarterback, slash here, slash there, the occasional pitch, and that's it. No shovel passes, no draw plays. For a person that wants to have a gunslinging quarterback, that means what? It means the line people are going to rush the quarterback, so you call the draw to fool them because they're all going after the quarterback. And all of a sudden you hand off to the running back, and the running back runs right by him and generally picks up great yardage. The Browns have not ran a draw play with Jameis Winston at quarterback. When they had Deshaun Watson, they were doing former read option, okay? But I digress. The basic tenets of ball control passing call for a running game that's so effectively designed that it makes the defense forget about the pass. Well, Dorsey didn't do that. Ken Dorsey did what he has done so many times with Winston at quarterback. He has left Winston as a sitting duck back there throwing in the classic style that goes back to the 1960s. Okay? And then he got a success out of it because Jameis Winston is a great passer. This is also a man who was one of the best baseball players in the country coming out of college at Bessemer, Alabama. So he was sought after not just by college football teams, but by college baseball team coaches. That's how good Jameis Winston was coming out of high school. He can definitely throw a fastball, no question about it. But that doesn't mean you have him making dangerous throws. And yet, this is exactly what we have had. Now, let me show you something that, before I continue there, let me show you what the Browns website are reporting. This is the Browns website. If you go there, they're in their recap, where it says Browns 41. And then it reminds you, Jameis Winston set franchise record in passing yards. Let's take a look at that. By Kelsey Russo, their staff writer. And it says, Browns quarterback Jameis Winston cemented himself in Browns history on December 2nd as he totaled 497 passing yards against the Broncos. He was just 3 yards shy of joining Tom Brady, of all people, in a record-breaking Monday Night Football game. And I believe that the reason why Ken Dorsey threw that pass in the end zone that he shouldn't have, that design, if you're going to throw that pass, that wasn't the pass to throw. I'll get to that in a second. But I believe Dorsey was trying to get him. He was probably saying, you know what? He's only got 2 yards or so. Let me get him 500 or close. But when you get that close and you've got enough seconds to score a touchdown, kick on onside, make an onside kick, right? And then get the ball back and get a field goal range, you score the touchdown. You score that touchdown. That's what he should have done. But he didn't do that. Anyway, Kelsey writes here. She writes, the franchise record for the Browns by a quarterback was 457 yards set by Josh McCown in 2015. Winston broke that record with 460 passing yards late in the fourth quarter. He finished the game with 497 passing yards, completing 58 passing attempts for 4 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. His 497 passing yards also set a new career high in passing yards for Winston. Yes, he did. Now, let's go back here to the front page and then continue with, well, this is the full game recap. You saw it. And the franchise record. Now we say this, okay? You're saying he's a gunslinger, he's done this. I've explained to you his history. Let me show you how similar what we saw tonight is to another play in Jameis Winston's history that I actually made a video about at the time because I was so annoyed with the coach that designed it, who I later had an opportunity to meet and interview. Dirk Carter is a great guy. But the bottom line was that Jameis on this particular day threw 4 picks. And if you remember the play that Ken Dorsey called, the sideline play that was brought back for a touchdown, the last of the 2 pick sixes, that was a sideline throw. Remember how the receiver number 8 just sort of rolled into it lazily, telegraphing the play. In other words, if you're going to run a sideline pass pattern, you run as if you're going to go downfield deep and you break it off. You don't roll into it and bring the cornerback with you. Anyone who designs passing games knows that. Ken Dorsey, not Jack Dorsey, but Ken Dorsey did precisely that. He had Jameis throw a pass to a receiver running that pattern, and not surprisingly, what happens? The defensive back goes along with him. He knows what's happening. He knows how to get in the position. Because what happens when you have the receiver roll like that, the quarterback actually has to throw earlier because the receiver is getting into the pattern earlier rather than going down like 5 yards and then cutting. You're going down, fake inside, they can run the slant and then run out, okay? Kevin says, Zinni, salute you. You always support the brother Winston, win or lose. I do, because if you understand football, you understand technical football, you understand how to get the best out of a player. And Jameis has been beset by an inordinate amount of incidents off the field because he was very good. People making up stories about him that the mainstream media didn't want to cover or believe because he's black. as opposed to, remember, give a perfect example, Ben Roethlisberger and what happened to him off the field. Remember how everything was covered up. It was hush hush. No one said a negative thing about Ben Roethlisberger. He went on to be a great Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback, right? Jameis Winston should have been afforded the same path. And the difference between Ben Roethlisberger and Jameis Winston is that Ben Roethlisberger really did do those things, and Jameis Winston did nothing wrong. And if you follow this, you know, because of my post about Erica Kinsman, I don't want to go into deep detail about that right now, but my point is I discovered that was a fraud. Okay, so yeah, you're right, I do. Because too many of us as black folks are capable of being the best at what we do, but you have an overarching society that doesn't want you to see you as the best. Remember the play where Jameis was hit twice in the head? The referee, NFL ref was standing right there looking right at him. Could have called roughing the passer and didn't. Okay? I didn't. All right? So, Kevin, do you remember that? All right? So my point is, all right, Kevin says, I agree. I remember you called it down the middle always. And it's not a matter of calling it down the middle. It's a matter of telling a truth. Because you want to know that when you come through this society, you have a good path to achieve your success. But when people are creating roadblocks for you because they don't like that you're black, well, that's not right. And it has to be called out. And so that's why, and I noticed it early on with Jameis, and I noticed how being a part of the NFL media, being at the owners' meetings, how there are some people who seem to prize allowing black players to have a negative image. Like I got after Mike Florio about that, Pro Football Talk a long time ago. Mike Florio had the nerve to put up one of these blackface cartoons on his site. And I personally emailed him and I said, hey, you know what? That's not something person like you should be doing. I didn't think you were that kind of guy. And he admitted he was wrong in doing it. Good for Mike. But he did it. Okay? It's racist. And so you want to see a level playing field for us, for anybody who is really, really good. And in Jameis' case, it's this, how people have this idea that the NFL is scripted. It almost feels like they're scripting this role for Jameis to be the black gunslinger guy that throws all for the yards, but he doesn't win the game, just so they preserve the integrity of society and all that jazz. There are people who are screwed up enough to think that. But my point is, let me come back to my example with Dirk and the techniques of this, because I come from the Bill Walsh School of precision passing. I'm going to play for you and I want you to think about what you're about to see in the context of what happened tonight. Let me make sure that I have this set so you can hear it, because if I don't have the I need to have my volume set in such a way, my audio, so that you can hear this. Okay, so I believe now you can hear it. Okay, they don't do any of that. Instead, watch what they do, and not only that, it's telegraphed. Take a look, folks. Instead, watch what they do. Here comes. Watch how the receiver rolls. This guy rolls into. He rolls into it. It's picked off. See, it. Not only that was it picked off, but on the interception, just prior to the interception, you had, who's that? Linebacker. Look at this. He's coming in here. He's rolling, but then look at what happens. You got a linebacker also. They're basically pinching. They were primed for that short pass. No seam design, okay, at all. Those are three passes I've shown you that resulted in interceptions and came from poor play design. To make it simple, the problem is that, first of all, Dirk Koetter's offense has no
play action system to give Jameis Winston a very easy throw, say at the line of scrimmage, and then let the receiver pick up the yards.
Stop right there. I said the same thing about Ken Dorsey, right? At the onset. Where's the play action? He had it once. That resulted in that 44-yarder by Jerry Jeudy. And that's it. Other than that, I formation, fake to the fullback, quick pass, nope. Play action out of Brown formation or split backs, nope. Hey, fake jet sweep pass, nope. Play action, play action, play action. None, none, none. That's Dorsey. What does that sound like? Dirk Koetter. You see the pattern? They're so in love with Jameis Winston as a gunslinger that they haven't thought about making Jameis Winston into a field general who happens to be a great passer. Okay? Like Joe Montana. You can make great passers. Great passers aren't necessarily born. You can make them through scheme. Listen.
To build confidence and build yardage and move the ball. First example. Second problem, the offense doesn't take advantage of the spacing provided by the field. Use all the field, get the receivers away from each other to make throwing lanes more obvious for your quarterback.
And Ken Dorsey doesn't do that either. Except when it's 5 wide, but then it's obvious because, it's 5 wide. Well, he'll run a tight space, have you throw in the tight area all too often. Not as much as Zach Robinson over here with the offensive coordinator with the Falcons, who does it way too much. And then they wonder why Kirk Cousins gets picked off as much as he does. That's another person who was a great quarterback, but is the victim of a lousily designed and executed offense. And it's even more greater offense because it purports to be a ball control passing offense. But the passes that they call are just stupidly dangerous. There's no other way to describe it. No other way to describe it.
You could see that problem. The third problem is lack of a focus on timing.
Hey, look, I can take what I'm saying here about Dirk Koetter and apply it to Ken Dorsey. I've done it before. I'm doing it again. Okay? Listen.
The receivers run their patterns, but they roll into them lazily instead of the classic.
See what I'm talking about? Rolling into them, right? Listen.
You stop and you cut, right? They roll into theirs. They roll into it. And rolling into it, what do? They telegraph the play. The play is poorly designed to begin with, but they telegraph a bad play anyway, which makes things worse. The Buccaneers need to go back and take plays out that are poorly designed from the start, that don't create obvious throwing lanes and create bad situations for their quarterback, Jameis Winston.
Now, okay, I can take everything that I said there and I'm applying it to here. Think about it. And how old was my video? Okay, how long ago was that? Folks, that was 9 years. 9 years ago. Actually, 10 years ago, because YouTube has this timing problem. That's a 10-year-old video. Yeah. That video goes back to 2014. That's a 10-year-old video. So Jameis Winston's been played with coaches who are so in love with him as a gunslinger, they could care less about ball control passing. And then we had Dennis Allen, the first year after Sean left, supposedly retiring, right? Brings in Mike Martz for preseason, the same guy that I started off criticizing, because he's going to install a Mike Martz type of approach. Well, because he has Jameis. Gunslinger mentality again. And so they put Jameis in this offense, run it against the Falcons. Jameis winds up because the Mike Martz offense is also famous for getting quarterbacks killed. That's one thing that Kurt, who played for the Rams, should remember when he's always diagramming these plays, he put up this set of 8 plays on Twitter saying you should run these are plays for different situations. They're all from his Mike Martz playbook. I am not in love with the Mike Martz playbook because Mike Martz did his quarterback in a situation where the offensive linemen were retreating and literally bringing the lineman to the quarterback to get sacked, to sack him, okay? That's ridiculous. And if you look at the playbook, it doesn't have these steps like 1, 2, 3, or the Bill Walsh one. 5 steps, actually 3 big, 2 little, right? Where you're adjusting with respect to the play. No. In fact, if you look at the Mike Martz playbook, they never had a drawing for what the quarterback was supposed to do. The quarterback was just a little circle. Look at what Kirk Warren is the quarterback. Kurt Warner. Okay, look at how he draws plays. He just takes them from Marx's original playbook and just slaps them up there on Twitter, like no one's going to figure out that, oh hey, by the way, this is the Martz playbook. Okay. Steve Young was right when he said, I believe 2 years ago, that there's an epidemic of bad passing in the NFL. He's absolutely right. And this is another example of it. Another example of it. Now I give Ken Dorsey credit for putting Jameis Winston out there to throw. But I don't give him credit for putting him in bad situations. This is Ken Dorsey. This is on Ken Dorsey. The good part's on Ken Dorsey, and the bad part is on Ken Dorsey. But by comparison, when Sean Payton's first game coaching Jameis Winston against the Packers, a game where the Saints in 2021 were 2 touchdown underdogs. They won 38-3. Jameis Winston threw not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 touchdown passes. No interceptions. No, 1 interception. Okay? And he threw passes of different varieties. One was to the tight end, a kind of a loft pass. The other was, out of all things, a shovel pass. You know, like that. The old-fashioned shovel pass popularized by Roger Staubach and the Dallas Cowboys in the 70s. And then standard corner pass. And then play action deep pass. Okay? A variety of passes. A variety of passes. So I hope the Browns give Jameis Winston a chance to be their quarterback next year, because on top of needing a set of 20 ball control passes and a set of running plays that are of a unique variety with passes from them, so that it makes their passing game less predictable, I hope they give Jameis an entire year to show what he can be, how effective he can be in a properly developed offense with a good defense. Because the other side of this story was the Cleveland Browns defense didn't do as much as it could have done to make the Browns' offense life easier. Sure, you say Jameis Winston gave 2 pick sixes and that was a problem. I agree with you. But I say that's because the offensive coordinator, Ken Dorsey, was too busy putting Jameis in Gunslinger positions and literally hurting the offense, and yet hurting the Browns' defense. But a great championship defense can stop that. In other words, can stop the opponent, so it doesn't matter. It's like, hey, no, you know what? We got you. Don't worry about it. We'll snuff them out. We'll snuff them out. The Browns held the Broncos offense down, but not when it mattered the most. Okay. Not when it mattered the most. And the particular bugaboo I have, the particular issue I have with the way the Browns played their defense is this continued use of wide four-man front tackles where the tackles are on either side of the guard. And I remember in the email that I wrote to Jim Schwartz, I said, don't use that. Use an odd front defense. We use a nose tackle. Use a bear look. They did that once. Stay in it. Why? Because if you look at the Broncos games, they feasted off fronts where the quarterback was given this huge hole between the center here and either guard. So what do? You shut it off. Force them wide. So that ends my critique, folks. But this was Ken Dorsey. This is on Ken Dorsey. Jameis said it was his fault. Really, it wasn't. Because you know, and I know, that quarterbacks are not out there drawing the plays themselves. And you know, and I know, that any time that you consistently go against what the coach is telling you to do, you're not going to be the quarterback. The reason why Jameis Winston is in there is because he does what the coaches ask him to do. So if you're saying, Zini, are they asking him to throw interceptions? I'm saying they're asking him to take chances that cause these interceptions, and they know it. If they don't know it, they shouldn't be coaching. They shouldn't be coaching. There are better coaches. So you would say, who do I think is better than Ken Dorsey's offensive coordinator? I think Dorsey is good. First of all, let me talk about what I think he's good at. I think he's good at installing a passing game that's aggressive. But unfortunately, it's sloppily aggressive. And where he needs to take the sloppy out is easy. Precision patterns. Having receivers go up, and if it's going to be out pattern, fake the post, then come back to the out to shake the defensive back. Not have the receivers roll into a pattern. I don't like that side pattern anyway. I don't. If I'm going to do that with a receiver, I'm having the receiver come in motion, and then I have a bunch here. Let's say the tight end, flanker. Then I've got my wing here. I've got a split over here on wing coming in motion, and then I got them going out like that, so that when these two go out, they literally form a kind of a shield for him, not a pick, but a shield. Okay, and it's a quick pass here. Why? Because you're keeping the defender away from the receiver. Bill Walsh popularized that. Okay. And Kevin says, will you make a video of the upcoming quarterback draft class? I will absolutely do that, Kevin. Thank you for asking. But my point is that it's that kind of play that you call. You design plays with the objective of not putting your quarterback in a position where your quarterback throws an interception. You think about how the defense is deployed. Your objective is to have the receiver so wide open that you, me, and my mother could throw to the receiver because the receiver is just so wide open. Can't miss him. Boom. That's the objective. There are a couple of plays where Ken Dorsey had Jerry Jeudy wide open like that. But you need to make sure that all of your plays are like that. Why? Because NFL defensive backs in a number of cases are superhumanly fast. So are the line people. You can't just draw a play. You have to think about what the player is going to do. You have to model it out. Why do you think analytics is so popular? In fact, that brings me to this question. Where's the Browns' vaunted analytics office? Where is it at? I don't know. All right, folks. I've got 32 minutes and 34 seconds. Thank you all for watching. Please share this. Jeff now is here. Jeff says Walsh era had QBs under center, which is optimal for short timing routes and play action. I'm glad you said that, Jeff, because this had been done a long time ago. You can actually made a playbook around. In fact, my Eagle offense is a 4x1 shotgun, but it consists of timed passes. You don't have to be under center to do that because it's steps, right? For example, I know that I have an extra second where the quarterback's going to look down and get the ball. So knowing that, I'm going to shorten the drops to the quarterback once the quarterback gets the pass or gets the gets the snap, right? Because you have to time that out. All right. Now, we say, what am I talking about? Here is I'll show you this real quick. Here is my Eagle offense in the NFL playbook that I developed. And I did this for John Gruden because he was always kind about taking my plays and asking and giving me time. See, there it is. This is the Eagle offense, updated August 3rd of 2021. Originally developed earlier that year. Okay, and let me get there you go, and then scroll down. You'll see what I'm talking about here. And I'll get right to the diagrams here, so you can see what I'm driving at. Here, this is the base formation. Excuse me. That's the base formation, right there. Don't know why I'm getting these ridiculous ads. Excuse me. Okay. This is the base formation right here. All right. And that's the base play. We call it eagle right, H fly motion belly, 1 cross fly. All right. And the idea for the play. Oh, did I just get off center again? Rats. Hold on a second, folks. Don't quite know why it's happening. Let's see here. That went to 2 to 66. Sometimes I've got all these ads in here because of this doggone thing. I should have just opened up the PDF, but I didn't. At any rate, the bread and butter play that I just mentioned to you here is sort of this play set, okay? That it's let me get rid of this X. Trying to get rid of that ad there. Okay. There, okay? At any rate, the idea, this is plan. Oh, what keeps giving me these ads? Well, hold on a second, folks. I think I'm going to do this a different way and see if I can find it. Let me just download it, because what's going on is I'm getting fits from. Just download the PDF version. I'm already signed up. Continue with Facebook. Continue with Zinni. Download it. Verify my identity. There. Hold on a second, folks. Everybody's got a code nowadays. All right. 7. There we go. Okay. Boom. All right. So save. All right. I believe this should go without the constant interruptions. Yeah, here we go. All right. Now, there. That's it. Okay? And as you can see, this play is a one-stepper. You take one step, hot. You're looking number one. If number one is, you're throwing immediately number one. If he's close covered by the corner, then number two. And you're determining this before you snap of the ball. The snap of the ball, you're immediately getting out here. You don't have a lot of time. And in today's NFL, if this backer is up close, I'm going to tell you to get out of that play and throw it the other side, throw this way, because if he was up close, he could jump this and return it for a touchdown. I've seen that happen in high school football and in college. I've seen it, even the pros with I believe Jack Jones with the Raiders did it, number 18. So if I have that, I'm just going to immediately turn over here. My quarterback throws the seam. And then the alert throw. So you could ignore all these, and if you believe that there's a man-for-man situation where he's going to be wide open, take it right at the snap. This is designed for a quick decision, to make quick decisions. Boom, boom, boom. But in particular, this hot route, thrown on time, will break wide open. Look at what we have. We have 4 wide receivers to one side, the other on the other side, and we're putting the back in motion, so the back is running and then catches the pass with throwing. Okay, this is our ball control. Now there's 71 plays in this book alone. All right, 71, and I sent it around, and believe it or not, it was actually used by, of all teams, the Raiders. That's right, the Raiders. I will show you. Eagle offense is in A62, and this is a long video.
Everybody.
I'm just going to show you this. I'm just going to fast forward to the part where it was played. Right? Hold on a second. You're going to love this. Stop screen here. Present. Share screen. That's not what I'm looking for. It's right here. There. All right. Now, that's the playbook you just saw. Now, let me fast forward to where the Raiders used it. Here.
I never very
describe it here.
Otherwise.
And then here. Yeah, here's the actual formation. All right. Now, I'll play it for you so you can see that, you can hear me discuss the differences. Listen.
Of the 4 wide receivers on what I call the wing side or the eagle side, close together and wing here, rather.
See, look at the bottom. See, that's the guy you're supposed to. They don't use the motion that I instruct. They use the formation. Now, little backstory here. I emailed Mike Taylor of the Raiders, longtime Raider exec, and he jokingly said to me, "What did he write? Can I use this with Madden?" I said, "Sure." I didn't intend for it to be, used for Madden, but the bottom line is that the Raiders got the play. This wasn't just by accident. Oh no. They have the play. Okay.
Rather than spreading out the fullback here this way, and they put Marcus Mariota in a quarterback here. So they really didn't understand the intent of the formation from the perspective that I wanted. However, they did design a play that got Foster Moreau here open, who picked up 34 yards. It was a big play. Let's watch it in action.
See that? Quick hitter.
There he goes. See that happen really fast.
Now I discussed.
Let's take a look at it.
I realized I didn't have.
Let's watch it in action. Perspective that I want. Put Marcus Mariota in it.
I'm doing it right here because what happens is the Raiders use Marcus Mariota as a second in the slot, right? Yeah, the quarterback. They didn't use the motion across to emphasize throwing to the wing or the halfback, right? But this is the formation. Mike Taylor actually passed on my plays and playbook And this is the result. This is the first time and the only time the Raiders have ran this formation, my play. Now, they threw downfield to Foster Moreau on a seam pattern. And I thought it was a brilliant design of play. Watch.
Quarterback here. So they really didn't understand the intent of the formation from the perspective that I wanted. However...
Oh, and Jeff, I haven't forgotten. Jeff, the whole point Jeff was saying, Walshier had quarterbacks under center, which is optimal for short timing routes and play action. And what I'm demonstrating is that, as you will see, that's not necessarily the case. Watch. Oops, excuse me.
This way. And they'll put Marcus Mariota in a quarterback here. So they really didn't understand the intent of the formation from the perspective that I wanted. However, they did design a play that got Foster Moreau here open, who picked up 34 yards. It was a big play. Let's watch it in action. There he goes. See, that happened really fast. Let's take a look at it from another angle. Here's the end zone view, and you can see Foster Moreau, who has Dave Casper's number 87 number, tight end. Hunter Renfrow is on the wing. Watch what Carr does. And he hits Moreau right there, see? Now, notable is that Hunter Renfrow is on the wing this way and wide open.
Yep.
It's a basic part of the play, but what they didn't do
I was showing you
was the bread and butter belly. But the overall concept of getting the middle receiver open because you have the wide slot set up here worked. But they missed the bread and butter, and that's the belly. Still, the Raiders did use the formation. They did use the idea of the Eagle offense and its peculiar approach to the full wide receiver 4x1 set concept. Now remember, in the base play, we have the split on the fly. Well, watch what happens.
takes off. Look.
Single coverage. A missed opportunity. If they had, again, stuck with the base play with the belly. It works. Subscribe to Zenny62 and bookmark Oakland News now.
Yeah. So you see? It's possible, Jeff. So my point is, it's possible to develop a timed passing game that's also a spread passing game that attacks. And that's my point. So we've been talking for 47 minutes. And thank you all for listening. And I'll be back with more later. Please subscribe if you haven't done so before. And hey, contribute with a smart chat. And Jeff says that wasn't a short timing within 10 yards route. Actually, it was. And Jeff, it was actually short timing. I'll make this real quick and then before I get out of here. But let me show you why that was. Remember the throw, okay? It's always you always have to ask yourself where the throw happened, okay? And you said 10 yards, right? And actually it was. Right here. Okay, so let's run this, okay? And then stop, all right? Okay, so you said 10 yards. That's 10 yards. That's roughly 10, 11 yards downfield. So it is. And also, I'm not looking, what I'm saying is that, and in terms of throwing the fade, I'm not looking to throw that short. I'm looking to throw that fade because I believe you can take advantage of that single coverage. Where it's there, you should do that. So you throw a fade to the outside shoulder with a touchdown. All right, that's the point. But again, they didn't use the belly part. Remember, the key part of my play is what's called the belly. And the belly is the halfback coming across in motion, being number 2, okay? The idea is precision passing. It's throwing on time. The Raiders didn't faithfully copy what I did, but they copied most of it. And that's, it's better than none. It means they were paying attention, okay? So no. All right. All right. So no. And he says, but Jeff says, I wasn't suggesting timing routes and play action were exclusive to having quarterbacks under center. Okay, granted. Cool. Gotcha. All right. Okay, folks. Hey, thanks a lot. We'll do more of these because, hey, the audience is great. Subscribe to Zenny62 on YouTube. And hey, bookmark our new, if you haven't seen it before, NFL News by Zenny62 website, which is right here, folks. There it is, right? See? And it's constantly updating with video-based news from YouTube that's automatic posted here. Like here's, Jeff, you were asking me about, I think, not you, but the other, Kevin was asking me about drafts. Here's the mock draft here, all right? NFL News by Zenny62.com. Check it out, folks. And again, donate. Thank you. See you all later. Bye-bye.